The Coaching Hour with Witumelo Tolakai
on Zoe Live Radio.
www.zoeliveradio.co.za.
Good evening. Welcome to the Coaching Hour. I'm your host, Khensani Chauke, and I would like to say good evening to everyone. I hope everyone is well and you guys had a very wonderful Human Rights Day. And today we are fresh and ready for the week. It feels like Monday though to me, but it's on a Tuesday night. Thank you for joining us this evening. And before we start with our evening and our show, quickly grab your notepad and your pen and a cup of coffee. Take 1 minute of your time, invite your friends, your family, and everybody that you know, and we are going to enjoy the show. So for the past 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, we've been speaking about communication. What is communication? How do we communicate with each other? How to become an effective communicator? And this evening, we are going to the end of our communication series. We are going to do presenting. How do you present yourself as a leader? Let me highlight a few things that we learned. If you were not here for the past 2 weeks, we spoke more about how you influence as a leader, because communication is the most valuable gift in the world. And what we know is that as soon as you open your mouth, you are telling the world who you are, right? The second one, no one can be a great leader unless they genuinely care about success of everyone on their team. And how do you reach your team? You reach your team through what? Through communication. How you communicate with your team, how you lead them, reflects on their productivity, how they produce results in your organization. Is through communication, is through your leadership skills. And one thing that I know about communication is it's a skill that you can develop. You can become a better communicator. Presentation is a skill that you can develop. I remember I also had issues with presenting myself. I never thought that one day I'll be here and speaking about communication. I'll be here speaking or interviewing the coaches that we have here each and every week. And you know, it's a skill that I had to learn. It's a skill that I'm learning each and every day. When you were made a leader, you were given a crown so that you can lead others. You understand? You lead others. You were given the responsibility to bring out the best in others people. So whatever that you do reflects to the people that you are around. How you speak to them, how you lead them, their productivity shows the kind of leader you are. So we learned on how to speak up, which words to use, and how to. The other thing that we learned last week was how to be bold about things that we want to achieve as leaders. So today we're gonna talk about presenting yourself. Presenting, it's also a skill that you can learn. Effective, how we show up in a meeting like this. How do we show up? Do you show up tired? Are you coming to tune in just to listen? Are you coming with your note and a pen just to write notes? Do you tune in sleeping? Do you tune in cleaning? What is it that you do when you show up to yourself? Because remember, each and every time when you show up to meeting, you're showing up to yourself first. When you communicate with self first. When you communicate with yourself, it's either you communicate positively or negatively with yourself. But everything starts with self. Now I can't see you. I depend on your engagement when it comes to comments, how if you have questions, if you want to be in the communication with us and all. I can't see you, so I'm not sure whether you're wearing a gown, whether you're sleeping, whether you're driving, but how do you show up to meetings? How do you attend your workshops online and in-house? So we're going to learn about showing up. We're going to learn about participation. Do we participate when we are in meetings like this, in workshops? Do you send comments? Do you ask questions? And the structure of your presentation, how do you work around the structure of your presentation? We're going to learn that. Designing your slides, how to design your slides, how to package yourself and package the story, the tone of your voice, the body language. So we are going to learn that tonight. And we've been with Coach Rebecca Sibia for the past 3 weeks. And if you didn't meet Coach yet, please go back to all the recordings that we had and just go start with the first series that we had, part 1. And before you come to this one, I'm just joking. You can listen and go back. And if you like the show, kindly like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And welcome all of you. I believe that now you have shared and you have invited everyone that you know. And we are going to reach Coach Rebecca right now. Good evening, Coach. And how are you? Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Khensani. I am enjoying myself already because we're talking about presentation skills. And I hope that I will be able to bring value. And I'm thinking of, the weekend that I had. The weekend that I had as I was chatting to you is that it was a busy weekend, but I have gratitude because yesterday it was the Human Rights Day, and also the International Day of Elimination of Racial Discrimination, the same day. I mean, that is quite interesting. So this evening, I hope that we will be able to let our audience know how to present themselves in different spaces. And I hope they know and they ask questions. Well, we're going to be ourselves. The way I present myself is that I just become myself. Authenticity is very important.
Okay, Coach. Welcome to the show. And I'm glad that you had a wonderful weekend and also you enjoyed your holiday. And before we start, kindly introduce yourself, especially to those who just tuned in now. They don't know who Coach Rebecca is, what she does, and all that. Can you please take them through your introduction?
Thank you so much, Khensani. My name is Rebecca Sibia. I'm a leadership and communications coach. I am a co-founder of Heartfelt Ep6, and I'm a founder and a director at Extraordinary Pulse. Extraordinary Pulse is about coaching, it's about mentoring, it's about making sure that we help other people, especially middle managers, to be able to lead teams and to be able to present themselves in a correct way. Heartfelt Effects, it's about memorable experiences and making sure that we help SMEs to be able to comply and to be able to also present themselves in a way that the funder will be able to say yes to you. So if you are looking for business proposals, Heartfelt Effects is also a place to be.
Wow. Wow, she also does business proposals. So you see, presentation, it's her thing.
I never even thought of it that way.
Presentation is her bread and butter. So if you want to improve video presentation skills and communication skills, that is the coach to go to. And coach, when we're speaking about presenting ourselves, how we show up, I remember it was 2020. I had a show. We called it Late Night Conversations with Khensani. And when we started the show, it was during lockdown. So the purpose of the show was, and now we are in lockdown. we have nothing to do, then what? And because of things were happening at the time, people were retrenched, some lost their jobs, some got they got sick, some lost their loved ones, and all that. And in my heart was like, I can't reach everybody, I can't go to everybody's house to comfort them, to let them know that I'm there for them. But what is it that I can do? Then I started the show and I started inviting coaches, like different types of coaches, from careers, from business, entrepreneur, all those coaches, the ones for healing therapy, others were faith coach, self-development, transformation, I have, the list can go on. So I invited them, then I started the show, and I remember I never thought of how should I show up to the show. When we started, I remember it's 10 p.m. most of the time. It was 10 p.m. So I will be in bed wearing my gown. There's this leopard gown that I love.
Even hiding my face.
There's this leopard gown that I love, and I will show up to meetings, like the other Zoom meetings that I will attend. I'll show up with my gown, with my tea, sitting on top of my bed, because it's the comfort of my home. And if you want me to attend your workshops, why not? Because I'm at home, and sometimes I will show up with my camera off, and everybody will show up in their own way. Some will show up holding dogs, some will show up doing this, some will show up cooking, and all that. So from my own experience, I just want us to start there, because I know even now it's still happening. Sometimes I host workshops online and I'll see the same thing that is happening, but now I have structured rules. I have rules on my workshops that this is what needs to be done, and this is how you need to show up and all that. Why? Because I've learned that was not the correct way of showing up. So, Coach, I wanted to ask you that the way we were showing up then, how was that affecting the presenter or the person who will be giving us a lesson? Because of the person will be the only person who looks clean and neat and, makeup on, lipstick, but the rest of the show, the rest of the people in the show will be like, oh, okay, I'm sleeping. You can even read their body language that no. I remember one workshop, they said, Khensani, open your eyes. And I wasn't sleeping. My eyes are very small. So let me show you something. Like, you see, I'm looking at my glasses now, ne?
Oh.
Do I appear sleeping to you?
Yes, it appears as if your eyes are closed.
Yes. So I was looking down. In fact, I was looking down on my notepad because I was writing something. Because the reason why they said, Khensani, wake up. I was wearing the gown. So I was still wearing the gown, and then later, now because I have to do now it's me as a facilitator. Workshops are now run online. We have e-learning and all that. Then I started feeling it that no, I don't want people to show up like I did, because of back then I didn't understand the effect or how it affected the presenter. So from your knowledge and your experience, how does showing up affect the one who's presenting?
I think I will take it. Thank you. I will actually take it both ways, because I believe that how you show up is your brand. So if you're showing up wearing a gown, that's how you want us as the audience to remember you. And also, if you are showing up like that, are we supposed to take you seriously? Let's say you are showing up like that as a leader, somebody who's leading a team, and in this meeting, you show up like you said, I'm wearing a gown. As your team members, are we supposed to be taking you seriously, or it also depends on the culture of the team? In my opinion, because you are your own brand, you need to show up in a way that you would want people to remember you. Or you need to show up in a way that you are positioning yourself and you are creating a brand for yourself. That's how I can actually answer that. But also I'm thinking as a presenter, I know that most presenters will say, switch on your cameras, or I want to see you. But for me, as a presenter, you also need to be prepared. And as you prepare yourself, you need to make sure that your audience is awake. And you do that by engagement. Have different activities, have different content, and present also in a different way. And if you're looking at our environment now, we are not physically, most of us, in a room. We are on a virtual space. Hence, people should feel as if they are with you in the room. So how you show up, Khensani, is very important. I can see now you're not wearing a gown. So you want to position yourself differently. I'm now, if you're wearing a gown and you are interviewing me, how would I have felt? And I'm wondering what was also, the thinking behind, wearing the way you are wearing. And people have got different options, different choices as well. But can you imagine if you're going to present to your funders and you are wearing a gown? They don't know you. That is their first impression, and you only have one chance to make that first impression. How do you want to make that first impression? That's how I always think about it. That it's not also even about what other people are saying. It's about what are you saying about how you're positioning yourself and how you are presenting yourself, because it starts with you. Are you taking yourself seriously? I mean, I'm thinking one thing that I do in terms of presenting myself is that in the morning, I wake up and I'm working from home. Wake up, prepare as if, I was going to a workspace, sit properly, and do my work. Then if it's time to take a break, I will take a break, because I believe that if you leave yourself to be unstructured as well, your day will be unstructured. So it's about presenting yourself in a way that you will be able to see the results later. Yeah, and we need to be better public speakers, especially if we are leaders. You need to be able to build that confidence, as we said last week, that you need to build that courage. And, public speaking or presenting is about confidence. It's about, you having a compelling message and believing that your message is important. If you don't believe that your message is not, if you don't believe that it's important, you won't even take your audience as serious as you're supposed to, because I'm thinking about presentation. Three things comes to mind. Firstly, preparation. Secondly, practice. The third one is performance. Preparation, practice, performance. Yeah.
Okay, Coach. I hear you. No, those were the mistakes that we made. I know it's not only me. A lot of people did that. So we just told ourselves that, no, I'm at home. I don't need to, especially me. I'm speaking because I'm saying this because I know that I'm a facilitator, right? And maybe at the back of my mind, I never thought that I will have to come back to. So I'm doing it at home just to reach people, but it will never happen. So I won't be presenting. And remember, at the time, I'm the host. And as a host, you also have an appearance. How you present yourself says a lot about the show that you're hosting. You understand? So those were the mistakes that I did myself, and I've learned from them, and I improved from them. Like if you look at me today, yeah. This is how I take myself. I take myself seriously. So, I used to say, no, it's late, it's 10 o'clock, and, everybody's about to sleep, and why should I be fussy about how we appear and how we present ourselves? The most important thing was the message. No, at the time, I didn't know that the most important thing was how you present yourself, how you show up to that meeting was the most important, because of even if you are you're sitting on your bed and watching the Zoom meeting without participation. Remember, at the time, some they don't participate, they don't engage in that meeting, they just listening. Are you sure they're still listening to what you're saying, or you just see pictures there? Maybe they're busy with something else. So that's when I learned that how you show up, it's more important than any other thing that you're going to do in that meeting, because it will say a lot about how you're receiving the message, your understanding of what they're saying, and the application of what you're learning there. Like we had thousands and thousands of meetings. What have you learned since 2020? Since 2020, just by showing up to meetings, So yeah, since then I said to myself that, Khensani, you need to change how you show up, because remember, you are also a presenter. Will you want people to show up the same in your classes? Will you want people to show up the same in your workshops? And it had to start with me. Yeah. If you want change starts with you. So I had to change how I show up first. And then the time that I was ready to do presentation, I knew what I was talking about. I knew the effect of showing up wearing pajamas, showing up with a blank camera, not showing your face, and all that. So those are the things that I had to learn and improve on. And yeah, it wasn't good, and it wasn't fair to presenters that you are there, you took your time preparing, you took your time practicing, and now you're presenting, then everybody's sleeping. So I've learned from that. So it's not what I want to be remembered of. I don't want people to remember me with a leopard print gown. But they will ask each other, which Khensani are you talking about? No, I'm talking about that one who always shows up with a leopard print gown. No, I don't want that anymore. So I decided that, you know what, Khensani, you need to change and present yourself well, because that's how you will be remembered. Like you said from the beginning, you said that showing up, you are telling people how to remember you.
Very true.
Yeah.
I think that is very true, because also, Khensani, as you present yourself, I think of yourself as somebody who has the wisdom that you need to share with the world. A lot of people would want to be better public speakers. And research has shown us that over 75% of us as people, we have the fear of public speaking. That fear is called glossophobia. A lot of us, just for us to go there and speak to the audience. And majority of the time it's because we do not prepare ourselves. When you prepare yourself, I mean, there's a quote that I'm thinking of that we normally use. I don't know if you use it, that says that failing to prepare is preparing to fail.
Exactly.
That quote is by John Wooden. And also, there's also a quote by Miguel that says to be prepared is half the victory. So if you prepare yourself, you've already done half the work of what you're supposed to be doing. Because presenting yourself or even public speaking is not for the faint-hearted. Because remember, whether you are somebody who's starting or whether you are an expert, you've been, in public speaking for long, you will experience the nerves. The nerves are there to help you to be an effective speaker, to help you to deliver the message. But if you don't know how to handle the nerves, hence you'll see other people leaving the stage or people becoming blank. But as you grow as a presenter or a public speaker, then you are able to manage the nerves. And when I'm thinking about preparation, I mean, a lot of us are preparing in a different way. Think about the message. If you want to deliver the message, like today, you'll say, I want to deliver the message. In my opinion, you need to start with the end in mind. What do I want people to remember? If there is nothing that they will remember, what is the one thing that I want people to remember? So you need to start, when you prepare, you need to start with the end in mind. As a presenter, you know, the basic things that they taught us when we were, I can remember when I was still young, when I was doing my essay, they will say, you need to have an introduction, you need to have a body, you need to have a conclusion. As a presenter, that is very important. Whether it is a prepared speech or whether it's an impromptu speech whereby somebody calls you to say, oh, Khensani, this speaker was supposed to be here and we need to really have somebody to speak to this audience. You need to be able to think quick and you need to be able to have the intro, the body, and the conclusion. Just imagine, even in our social setting, they're able to say, sometimes we go to social settings and there's a gathering, there's a celebration. We don't even have the program, and they will call you to say, Khensani, can you just come here and just, toast to this married couple? What are you going to say? How do you present yourself? Are you going to start saying, or I am not ready? Or are you going to think on your feet and think, what is the one thing that I want people to remember? And you compartmentalize that into intro, body, and conclusion. And if it's a toast, you do it in 1 to 2 minutes.
Yes, because my next question was, I wanted to ask you, how do we structure our presentation? Where do we start? And how, as a public speaker, right, how do you package yourself, package your stories? I wanted to understand around that.
Okay. It depends on what you're going to deliver. Whether they will tell you that you are coming to deliver a keynote. A keynote will be 20 minutes, for instance, or a keynote might be 5 hours. It will depend on the conference or it will depend on your audience. So you need to know how many minutes do you need to deliver your speech for. After that, then you need to know your audience. And knowing your audience, meaning that it's not only your audience, it's also the audience location. Are you going to deliver your speech online or are you going to be physically there with the people? And it will also depend on the type of speaker that you are. I know personally, if I'm there physically with people, because most of the time I love interacting with people, but before I deliver the speech, I won't eat before I deliver the speech, I would also want time to myself because I draw energy from myself. So I wouldn't want to see people like 10 minutes before I deliver. I wouldn't want to see people. I will sit, if there is a speaker room, I will sit in a speaker room, listen to myself. If I'm meditating, meditate, think about what I'm going to speak about. Because remember, I would have visualized that long time before. So when you're going to deliver the speech, because you're visualizing the stage, you're visualizing what are you going to say, even where you are supposed to be laughing. You need to prepare that. I don't know, if people are preparing that. Like if I am writing a speech, if you're writing a speech, unlike today, but if you're writing a speech, you even need to say, oh, okay, now I need to pause. Because what I said, I want people to remember what I said, but I also want people to listen. That is the power of pause. And in the virtual space as well, remember, if I'm looking at you, like I'm looking at you on the screen, as compared to looking at the webcam, there is a difference. If I'm looking at the webcam, people will experience my eye contact. But if I'm looking at you on the screen, my eye contact is withdrawn. So we need to be very considerate when we are speaking on the online platform. That the rules have changed a little bit. Eye contact is very important. So look at your webcam. Don't look at the people on the screen. Those are just simple things, and I know there are different, programs as well that people are using. I mean, you can also have, if you're using PowerPoint, the slides whereby you become bigger, and then your slides become smaller. So we need to know about these things, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm thinking about what you said to say, I was presenting myself in a gown, and I did not know better. But because we know better now, we need to remember that we are global presenters. As we are chatting now, you don't know who's going to watch. You don't know. You don't know who's going to comment, or you don't know who needs this information. So we are not in a space whereby now you are in a physical room whereby you are speaking to 10 or those 100 people, and that's it. Now, once you put the video on social media, it can either go viral, or it will go to different countries, or even locally. So it's very important to know how you are presenting yourself and what are you actually saying. So positioning is very, very important.
Yeah. I hear you, Coach. And when it comes to designing your slides, especially if you're presenting online, like how many, do we have any estimation on how many slides you should present, or how they are structured? And I just want to know around that if you are presenting online, how should your presentation look like?
There are different rules for different, people. What I know is that it's important for you to take into consideration your audience. And your audience has different learning capabilities, different learning skills, and different, learning styles as well. There are people who, if they are listening to you, they would want to write. I'm a writer. I would love to listen to a presenter, but I would love to write. So putting your slide too quickly, removing it to the next, might not work better. It's advisable to put it for 2 minutes. 2 minutes on the screen, and you continue talking about what you want to talk about. And there's also a tool, or there's also a method that, people can go and check. Pechakucha, 20 slides, 20 minutes. 20 slides, 20 minutes. So that also helps you to be effective, deliver the message that you want to deliver. So if I'm thinking 20 slides, 20 minutes, that might be 1 minute. You might be saying 1 minute, per slide. So your content also needs to be in a way that people will be able to remember it. So your content should be memorable. And when I'm saying memorable, I've seen slides whereby it's content. It's like an A4 page, not even an A4 page, maybe an A3 or A2 or A1 page of content. By the time that the speaker is going to the next slide, I have not even read 4 sentences. And if you have slides like those, I can assure you, it will be very difficult for your audience to listen to you. Because, if you are listening to somebody, you are listening, but also because we are visual as people, you would want to read what is written on the slides. So with too much information, people will be concentrating on making sure that they complete what you have put on the slide than even listen to you. Make sure that your slides are enhancing your content. Just put bullets. And I don't even want to go to the extent whereby I would say, put a sentence, because bullets are so long time ago. I don't even want to go to that conversation. But if you have if you've got three items that you are speaking about, or even one item, you can put one item and speak, to that item, but do not overload your slides. And remember what I said in terms of organizing your speech. Yes. So what I've learned is that as you organize your speech, we said it's intro, body, and conclusion. So even when you're doing presentation, it's exactly like that. It's intro, body, and conclusion. So in your introduction, you are telling people what you are going to tell them. That is why you see some people will have a table of contents, some people will have, agenda items. But the intro is that you are telling people what you are going to tell them. The body, you are telling them. You are telling them. And your body needs to have main ideas. It's advisable not to have more than 5 main ideas. I think 3. I think my preference is 3, not more than that. If it's 5, yes, you are stretching it a bit. But if it's 5, it also depends on the time that you have. Your conclusion is that you are telling them what you've already told them. So in your conclusion, you may not start a new idea on your conclusion, because then that is not a conclusion. So you tell them what you're going to tell them, then you tell them. Then you tell them what you have already told them. That should be how you structure your presentation. Time is of the essence. Just imagine yourself, you are at the conference and they give you 20 minutes, for instance, and you don't necessarily prepare and you go over by 5 minutes. Will they allow you? Most of the time, they won't allow you. But as a professional speaker or as a presenter, you need to ensure that you are professional and you are not disadvantaging the next speaker. Because if there is a program already, you are given 20 minutes. Stick to the 20 minutes. And you need to also know in terms of time, if they're saying 20 minutes presentation, is that allowing question and answer or not? Then you can prepare in a way that, and depending on the type of speaker that you are, I'm a speaker that who would say, ask questions when I'm presenting. Other speakers will say, ask questions at the end of my presentation. That is still preparation. So as you are preparing, you need to take in cognizance that time won't be on your side. Deliver what you need to deliver.
That's true, Coach.
And you are a facilitator.
We work on time.
Have you been in a situation whereby you haven't prepared and maybe you should even share that?
if you don't prepare, you are planning to fail yourself, number one, because the other thing is when let's say you are given an in-house workshop to prepare from how you're going to present yourself, what you're going to wear, and activities that you're going to do, ice breaks, and everything that is going to happen on that day, because you'll be running that day yourself. So if you're not prepared, like, your content won't be heard, you'll be all over the place because of your presentation. It's not structured the way it should. So you are just going to fail yourself if you are a facilitator and you don't prepare. Because remember, we have different lessons and we have different learners.
Yes.
We have different learners. So some, they hear you, some they don't. You need to have practical examples and you need to have activities where they will be able to understand what you're talking about. So there's no way you can be a facilitator and not plan. I don't know, maybe you are very intelligent or you are just gifted in everything that you do. But for us, we sit for days if we have given time to do it. Even if it was a last minute thing, or maybe you were given a notice a day before, it means that day, that night, you're not going to sleep because of you need to structure yourself, because your audience can notice and see if you're not prepared. And you won't be able to answer their questions because questions comes everywhere. And if you don't have a knowledge of what you're presenting on or the subject matter, you won't be able to answer any questions, because you need to have a knowledge of what you're going to talk about or what you're going to say to people about. And sometimes we go deep into doing research and finding out so that we can get references, to give them references that, okay, what I spoke about, you can check on or Google this, and then they will do that. They will help you. So, but if you just show up in the morning, go there, just introduce yourself and say, hi, I'm Khensani, and today we are doing, we're doing insurance, or maybe a funeral cover, and all those kind of things. And they will say, what is funeral cover? Do you know yourself what a funeral cover is? Or you just said to yourself that, no, I'm confident to stand in front of people. No, it's not about the confidence that you have. It's also about the knowledge that you have, because you can be confident about speaking, but the knowledge, when you open your mouth, it reflects the knowledge that you have. So that's why each and every time as a leader, you need to develop yourself. Leaders are students of reflection. We learn every day. Like, there's no way you can say, no, I'm not going to learn. You don't have to. You mustn't run out of knowledge, because even the Bible says in Hosea, it says that my people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, you have nothing to give. You'll be pouring from an empty cup. So you develop yourself first before you go and stand in front of people. So yeah, that's how I know, Coach, that as a facilitator, there's no way you can just wake up and say, I'm here to facilitate, no matter how much you know the product. No matter how much you know the product, but you need to prepare yourself, because you don't know your audience yet until you meet them. And after a few sessions, then you will recognize and see, okay, on the learners that I have, maybe I should move more into practical learning they need practical learning, or maybe I should move more into theory. You understand? So it will depend. You are driven by your learners for what kind of a learners you have, and you'll also always have that learner in class that will always ask questions that they caught you off guard, and if you're not prepared, then it's another story. So I know that as a facilitator, especially skills development facilitators, they are students every day. We learn, we do research, we read, we attend workshops, we empower ourselves so that we are able to give factual information to other learners. So that's how I know it. I am telling you, if they can say, go and facilitate on this, without preparation, I'm going to fail myself. And remember, if I fail myself, the learners that will be in that workshop, they will be remembering me with the failure that I had on that day. You see, so I don't want to fail who I am. I don't want to fail the knowledge that I have. So I rather sit and study before I do my presentation.
Yeah, and you're also talking to preparation, because planning is part of preparation. Remember that you cannot have confidence if you're not competent, unless I don't know, because confidence comes from you being competent in a specific subject, but also you making sure that you learn and you take the people that you're going to deliver the message to seriously. Because for me, if you don't prepare, I would take it as if you don't take your audience very seriously. Because if you respect your audience, you'll make sure that you respect their time, and remember, they cannot have their time back. Whether you waste their time or you bore them, they are not going to be able to get that time back. So rather, make that time to be an investment to them by delivering content to them. So yes, planning and preparations are very important, but then practice as well, and practice before the event itself. Because when you are presenting, you need to practice the ideas, not necessarily the words. You see, us as presenters, sometimes you become so nervous, and some people, as I said, they will even say that, words are gone. I don't remember what I wanted to say. And I know sometimes I would say, English is running away from me, because I'm thinking of a certain thing in my own language, and I don't think there is anything wrong with that. But if I have learned the words rather than the ideas, then I wouldn't be able to even formulate a sentence. But if I have learned the ideas, then I would be able to contextualize or even put that idea in a different way. Because as presenters, we also don't want to sound like parrots. If you're delivering a speech, Khensani, and you've learned the speech word by word, believe me, I would be able to pick it up. And most of the time, if you did that, you are able to engage with your audience because you want to remember each and every word. My advice is that learn your introduction by heart. Learn your conclusion by heart. And the main ideas in the middle, learn them, the ideas, and deliver them the way you feel comfortable. Yeah. But not wait by it. Sure. Not wait by it. And remember, as well, as you are practicing, now we've got videos. You may even, whether you are on MS Teams or whether you are on Zoom, you might have a meeting by yourself or with yourself, and record yourself. Look at how you sound. Look at how your gestures are like, and improve where you need to improve. There are family, there are friends. Get feedback. Practice, practice, and practice, because your audience is important.
Sure.
I mean, I can imagine us that you are putting there, Khensani, to make sure that you prepare for the shows.
Oh, I do. I do, because if I don't prepare, I'll be all over the place. Because as a host, I'm still learning. But as a host, I believe that I'm the one who's running the show. You are driven by me, so I'm the one who's taking you from one place to the other. You see, so if I'm not prepared, especially when it comes to questions, especially on the content and on the things that we need to touch, we are going to be all over the place, because it means I'll be picking whatever that I think in my mind, and that might not be relevant to the content that we have tonight. You understand? So
yeah.
I have to prepare myself, and emotionally, mentally, and physically, and write questions down, and prepare you in time that this is what we're going to talk about, and these are the things that I'm going to touch, so that you can also prepare on them. And but few questions there and then I will caught you off guard and all that, but because you are prepared already, you will be able to respond. But I do prepare for the shows.
So you see, you're actually cementing what I was saying, to say preparation is important, but also practice. And as you practice the main idea, so that if I say something that you're thinking, but that is worth asking a question on, then you are able to ask questions.
Exactly. That's correct. And another thing I wanted to find out, how is the tone of your voice important when you presenting? Because, we have different types of speakers, of presenters, of leaders. Sometimes there's a conflict with leaders, let's say at work, at the workspace, because of the person is loud and this person is trying to tell me something. I'm receiving the message wrong because of the tone of their voice. So in presenting as an individual or as a speaker, as a leader, how important it is when it comes to your tone of voice?
Tone of voice is very important. Actually, Khensani, you are taking us to the third P. The first one, it was preparation. The second one, it was practice. The third one that you're taking us to is performance. I'm going to start as a presenter, then I'll go to as a leader. So as a presenter, there are three categories in terms of performance. Your facial expression, your gestures, as well as your body language. And in terms of your facial expressions, that's where your emotions and your facial expressions must match. Because sometimes you find somebody who's saying, oh, this was so sad, but, somebody is actually saying that sadness with the smile. As somebody who's receiving the message, you might misunderstand that particular person. Also, taking it to the leader. If you have a leader that is giving you feedback, let's say during your performance review, the manner in which they are delivering the message is very important. If somebody is going to deliver or present that message in a way that you are being judged, automatically you are going to want to defend yourself. But if somebody will present the message like this, let's say during the performance, to say, Khensani, I see here we said that we will deliver, let's say 5 conferences in a year, but we only delivered 3 conferences. And I know that, we had chatted about this, before. And you said that you'll be able to deliver other 2. What do you think we can do better? So the what question will help you in terms of seeing that, okay, I'm not being judged. Let me give, and that is part of coaching. Let me give ideas in terms of what can be done. But already the person is doing the coaching. I mean, that's how you give feedback. But also the person is also giving you feedback in terms of the standard, that the standard is already 5 and you've reached 3. How do we improve from 3 to 5? So the manner in which we present ourselves, we need to present ourselves in a way that we are not judging other people, in a way that when we are presenting the message, people are able to get the meaning, or they are able to get the message. The second thing that I said in terms of the three categories of performance is eye contact. And the eye contact, you spoke about it. I'm speaking to you now virtually, or I'm speaking to you on the webcam. And in a physical environment is a different, it's a different ball game, because then it means that you need to be able to speak to a person. You need to be able to have eye contact with a person for some time, few seconds, and move to another person. So you'll see other people in a room, they will be sweeping. We call it sweeping, because then the person will be looking either up or down, or, quickly, glancing up, around the people. And people can see that that is not eye contact. So when you have eye contact, people will feel that, oh, wow, Khensani is speaking to me directly. And that's how it's supposed to be. Body language. Be aware of your situation, whether it's a big audience or small. If it's a big, we make it, your hands, they need to be big. I'm on a virtual screen, so I can't even go as big as I would want to. So be aware of your body movements. And now that I'm thinking about gestures, I'm thinking that different ways. I mean, you can look it up, whether it's the conventional way, whether it's the descriptive way, or the emotional way when you're using the gestures. Have you been in a position whereby somebody's speaking to you and you can feel their emotion because somebody's present and somebody is making sure that their gestures are matching their speech? Going back to the leader, your tone. There is no reason for me as a leader to be using a tone that is condescending to a person. There is no need for me to be using a tone that is disrespecting another person. There is no need for me as a leader to be using a tone that will be crushing somebody else's spirit or making that person feel that they are not worthy. There is no reason at all. So as a leader, you need to use a tone that is inspiring. You need to use a tone that is making the other person feel that I want to do better. I know that I did not reach the standard that is set for us. And that standard would have been set up front. But I still believe I can do it. As a leader, you need to use a tone that is saying, I am secured in my own space, and I want you to be secured in your own space or your own being, because I understand that you are a human being. As a leader, your tone is very important. And that is a different ball game altogether, because then we'll be looking at the tone, the pitch of your voice, the speed at which you are speaking, the space. There are so many things that you can look into when you're thinking about tone and voice. So presentation is so broad. Hence, I thought that today, let us look into preparation, practice, and performance. But the tone as well is part of the performance.
Wow. Coach, we have so much more to learn from you. And I our time is running out now. We don't have more time to go deep into this presentation, but we did learn a lot tonight. And I believe also the listeners and the viewers are taking notes. They've taken notes and they will be able to share with their loved ones when it comes to presentation and how important it is to prepare and plan before you give out a presentation, because we do presentations everywhere. How you speak to your children is how you present yourself, how you speak to your siblings, your friends, your neighbors. It's part of presentation. It like Coach said about the performance, you perform. The tone of your voice is part of performance also. So we have learned, Coach, I have learned personally from you ever since we started with communication, and a greatest leader influence through communication. That's the only way. If you don't know how to communicate, it's going to be hard for you to be a leader. If you don't know how to present yourself, it's going to be hard to pass the message across, because they won't be able to hear what you're saying. You'll be all over the place. And confidence, again, it's needed. That's what we started with. Let's build our confidence to stand and be who we are and be authentic about the message that we're giving to other people, and have the knowledge, because you won't be authentic if you don't have knowledge. So that's what we learned from Coach Rebecca. Coach, do you have any other thing to share with us? I'm giving you 2 minutes because we are out of time. If you have maybe principles of presentations, maybe 5 principles of presentation without explaining them. And yeah.
I want to say preparation, practice, and performance. And I'm thinking of, Brian Tracy, who says that effective performance is preceded by painstakingly preparation. You need to prepare. And also for those people that are actually looking for jobs, people who are going for interviews, remember that your success will happen when that opportunity presents itself, and you need to be ready. In terms of principles for presentation, make sure that you know your audience, make sure that you prepare, make sure that you practice, and just go there and perform. You are welcome to ask any question on the chat. We'll continue to give you the answers. Yes, we'll continue to give you the answers. And, presentation, as I said, is very broad, and it needs you to build up confidence. And you build up the confidence by being consistent in building yourself.
Hundreds, absolutely, Coach. And Coach, where can our viewers and listeners get you or find you?
Oh, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, I'm Rebecca Sibia. Am I there on Twitter? On Twitter, Rebecca. And you can also search for Extraordinary Ripples. You will find me there. My email address is rebecca@eripples, as in ERIPPLES.co.za. I'm normally quick in terms of communicating with you via email as well. Thank you.
That's lovely. Coach, thank you so much for having you tonight. And we are at the end of our show, guys. What I can say is that remember that when you open your mouth, you are telling the world who you are. How you present yourself, you are telling the world how to remember you. So whatever that you do, you're doing it for yourself. And remember that your personal development is important. Showing up tonight is part of your personal development, because tonight you did learn about how to present yourself. So from me, Khensani, I will say, take care of yourself and be kind all the time. Be authentic, do your best, and be awesome at all times. Coach, Do you want to say good night to the listeners and viewers?
Yes, good night. Prepare, practice, and perform. You will be a confident public speaker.
Thank you, Coach, and good night to you. Thank you so much for coming through. Good night, everyone. I love you and take care of yourselves, and God bless you.